There's a new phenomenon entering the midterm elections. Democrats in disguise, wolves in sheep clothing, who try to advance stealthily on the electorate and win elections by pretending they're independents, when in fact they're hardcore Democrats. The way was pioneered by Governor Angus King of Maine, who was a genuinely independent governor, sometimes Democrat, sometimes Republican, but truly an independent. And then he ran for the Senate seat Olympia Snowe vacated, a Republican seat, campaigning as an independent. But then he went to the Senate and he fell in lockstep with the Democrats and always voted the way Harry Reid told him to, some independent. Now we have two other candidates who are trying to move on a similar trajectory. In Kansas, we have Orman, who is an independent candidate, who says that he's not for either party, and he's trying to take away the Senate seat now held by Republican Pat Roberts. The Democrat is pulled out of the race to make room for Orman. Now, Orman supported Obama in 08 and 12, ran as a Democrat for the Senate in 2004 or 2006, supports Obamacare, and doesn't really differ from the Democratic agenda on anything. But he calls himself an independent, and that's fooling a lot of people in Kansas. Roberts was 10 points behind. Now in the last poll, he's one ahead, and we hope Kansas is catching on. The same kind of move is underway in South Dakota, where a former Republican senator, three-term Republican, Larry Pressler, is running for the open seat vacated by Tim Johnson for the Senate. And the front-runner had always been former Governor Mike Rounds, a Republican governor. But now Pressler has come into the race and is only a few points behind Round. The last poll had Round 35, Pressler 32, and the real Democrat 28. Now, Pressler did serve as a Republican for 3 terms, but he's undergone a conversion. I met him going the other way on the highway. I was becoming a Republican and he a Democrat. He endorsed Obama in 08 and 12. He's endorsed Obamacare, and he basically would be a rock-solid, in-the-pocket vote for Harry Reid. So that's a second race that's potentially a real danger. It might be worthwhile if you wanted to contribute to Pat Roberts in Kansas or to Mike Rounds in South Dakota, because their campaigns are suddenly facing this threat. Those could be 2 certain Republican seats that they could take away from us. And then you have a similar situation, only slightly different, in Kentucky, where Grimes, Allison Lundgren Grimes, the Democratic candidate against Mitch McConnell, was on television, and they asked her, who did you vote for in 08 and 12? And for 40 seconds, she hemmed and hawed, talked about the sacredness of the ballot box, and refused to answer. Obviously, she voted for Obama. She supports all of his policies, but she didn't want to say so in Kentucky. In Georgia, there's another situation where Michelle Nunn, the son of Senator Sam Nunn, is trying to run as a Democrat. At least she says she's a Democrat. Perdue is the Republican candidate in Georgia, and that's got to be a Republican seat. The problem is that Nunn's father, Sam Nunn, was the last of the genuine bipartisan senators. That's a long-gone era. But at that point, he was a hawk on defense, even though he was a Democrat and took Republican positions on a number of issues, but not his daughter. She toes the line for the Democratic Party. She's being funded entirely by Reid and the national sources of the party funding, and she'd be a puppet like all the others. But that's the new Democratic gimmick. Dress up as an independent and try to win the election that way.